on social media.
Just got the notification.
Here we go.
I read the news today, a two-bit expose of the same old story that I heard yesterday. Yeah, it goes the headlines, man. They all just go to plan. They're framed and fixed and rigged, you know they're all just spam. So buckle down, plug right in. It crawls its way under your skin. Just got found from the things they spout, and it won't let you shout. Give me that good news, because I'm tired of the same old shit.
Oh, here we go. Friday morning, 21.6 Net. You're caught in at Real Life Internet Radio. It's time for The Grounds. That's sweet, sweet music. When you're tired of the same old shit. Of course, The Grounds, the most innovative show that 21.6 The Net has. Why? Well, because you, the listener, can be part of this show. Grab a cup of coffee, copy the link that's in the chat right now, just like our good friend Don Stevenson down in where he's down in Happyville, Texas, or something.
Happyville?
Yeah, he's
I don't know.
He's in the green. He's in the green room, ready to come in.
He's already ready to go.
That's it. And of course, today's show brought to you through the financial support of our good friends at Fantasy Factory, right down here on
Front Street, 818 Front Street. Yep, right.
Yep.
Henry.
Listen, it's Christmas. You want it's a romantic boutique, and you want to go into 2022 and stuff our stockings. That hang by the fireplace, right? Yeah. This is a great store to do it. So check them out at www.fantasyfactorymchenryil.com or give them a call at 815-385-7399. You can also order online. There's a bunch of great stuff you can do there.
Yeah. We have a full online, actually ton more stuff online. So check us out. Stop in. Christmas is coming. Hopefully everyone's having a great or had a great week.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Don, good morning. How are you?
I'm very well. How are you guys doing this morning?
Good. I'm just going to turn that up just a little bit.
Yeah.
That way we've got a little better sound there.
There you go. By the way, it's Grapevine, Texas, which is Happyville, Texas. Yeah.
Happyville. That's it, right?
You're really in Happyville?
No, it's Grapevine.
Grapevine. Oh, well, I guess if you eat the grapes off the vine, you'll be happy.
Absolutely. Right? Yep.
There's a little bit of vino.
A little bit of vino in this neck of the woods. Absolutely. Yeah. There's just on the main street. There's shops of I think seven different Texas wineries.
Holy cow! Seven different. The way to get liquored up in Grapevine, Texas.
Oh,
we got seven different spots for you to stop this morning.
Right. One of my daily enjoyments is just looking at the gap in temperature between Dallas and Chicago. Yesterday it was like 23 degrees, but I won't mention that this morning.
That ain't 25 here this morning.
Yeah, that's all right. You know
what? You guys have been doing pretty well.
Yeah, you know what? But that's part of Wednesday. That's part of the Midwest. The lure, so to speak. I mean, I don't like the deathly cold, but I do like the change in seasons. It's a breath of fresh air, so to speak, where things are different, things change, everything. It's a cycle, just like life.
An example of that yesterday morning. I know you guys had some bad winds. We had some bad winds. We've got like a little reindeer and a sleigh thing out in our yard with lights on it. And the last 2 mornings, I've had to go back out and set back up the reindeer. Rudolph keeps getting knocked over.
I have to do that every day at my yard.
But I did it. I do it in a shorts and a t-shirt. I'm putting the reindeer back up in shorts and a t-shirt.
So does your sleigh have wheels on it so you can actually get moving since you don't have snow to slide through?
No. Yeah. Right. If it needs to go, it can fly. Yeah, it doesn't need it. Doesn't
right.
Need
That magic thing. So
exactly.
So this week we're going to talk a little bit about courage and encouragement. As I don't know if a lot of people know out there, but 21.6.net is actually a subset of DDOE, which is a daily dose of encouragement.
Enterprises Inc.
Enterprises Inc. Yes, forgot to enter that. But, daily dose of encouragement, which is kind of what we're aiming here at 216.net with all of our shows, really more so, just giving everyone,
because when you tune into a couple idiots, you're like, oh, my day's going to be all right.
My day's going to be great because those guys are nuts. But,
I'm encouraged about how good my life is after talking to you two guys.
I listen to these guys and, hey, my life's awesome compared to what these guys got going, right? Right. But I really liked that when we were talking about, a daily dose of encouragement.
Yeah.
Everybody needs a daily dose of encouragement, whether you're, the top level CEO down to, a coal miner. I mean, it doesn't matter what you are, what you do, who you are, where you're at. Everybody needs a little bit of bump every day, right? To help them keep pushing them forward to, tackle the chores at hand that's in front of them. And having courage is basically the starting block, right? I mean, if you don't have courage to kind of face the day, face your issues, face your problems, whatever you got going on.
Yeah.
It's, I don't want to say it's a failure, but, things are going to just hit you right away and you're going to let it go.
Yeah. But courage is relative, right?
I don't have a relative named Courage.
Oh. But, Don, when you hear the word courage, I mean, what do you think? What pops into mind?
Oh boy, a lot of things. I mean, from a personal standpoint, courage to stand by your convictions comes to mind. Courage in our current society to speak up when it may not be to your personal benefit. Those are the first two things that come to mind for me.
I like that one. I like that one. The courage to actually, that was one of the things, is the courage to be you and to, stand up for what you believe in and, share that with people, whether it's going to make them, like you, or maybe even, just like you for the reason of what you do, but you're having the courage to stand up for that and say, hey, this is what I believe. This is why I believe it. And, if you don't believe me or understand what I believe in, why I believe in it, that's fine. But this is me. And so maybe make you think about something a little bit differently. Maybe think about something in a different manner, right?
Yeah.
And be respectful of one another. I actually had to snicker. I come on, I join you guys. Here's a guy in Texas who works for a Christian ministry, and the first thing is Fantasy Factory, and I'm like, this, we love each other.
Change the
advertiser. But no, it's a free country, and what? Love your brother. This is one of those things where I think there's a lesson.
Here's the best thing. That is a marriage enhancement story.
Exactly.
I was just going to say, so if you're a Christian, then it's right. So if you're a real
Absolutely.
Christian, you believe in that because procreation is one of the big things in the Christian,
Jesus, we need more of that. We need more procreation.
Not have furry handcuffs.
He did not say that, did he? Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife. So he did say that, but you could get furry handcuffs to keep your wife.
Never mentioned that. Yes.
And you have, as a good Christian, you have to have courage to go into that store.
Right. And you do, right? And someone might encourage you to go in there and say, hey, look, your wife really is looking for a little something different.
What I like to do, of course, as a deacon, what I love to do is put on my black shirt and white collar and go in there.
We have that. We have people like that come in all the time. Yeah. That's around Halloween, though.
Yeah. Okay. So courage, our good friend Merriam-Webster.
Mm-hmm.
Webster's Dictionary.
Says it's a noun. Courage is actually a noun. It is not a verb. It's a noun. And it's the ability to do something that frightens one.
Correct.
Right. And the next sentence is strength in the face of pain or grief.
Wow.
Is courage.
Yep.
Okay. So usually when I hear the word courage, some people pop into mind, right? If I say courage, we all think of the Cowardly Lion, first of all.
I was going to say, right? Yeah, Wizard of Oz. Yep.
Because that's what he wanted, courage, right? But what does that person pop into mind, or does an activity? You have got a lot of courage, right? You've jumped out of airplanes. You've gone white river rafting.
Right.
You've done
climbing, skiing.
Done some things that
crazy stuff.
do something that frightens yourself, right? I mean,
right. I mean, one of the things with, having courage is to continue to move forward, to do something in the not the absence, but the fact that you have fear, right? Yeah. So anything that you really want or that's important, potentially important to you, is on the other side of fear. Having the courage to actually do that, knowing that, like if jumping out of an airplane, you could die, but I'm still having the courage to go, I want to do that. I'm going to live my life. I'm going to have the courage and trust in myself to do this and enjoy it. Right. Some people might need some encouragement to do that, but it does take courage.
All right. So the world is, has what we would say, has kind of twisted on its axis, from what I would say, when the world moves slower and you could smoke in a bar, right?
Yeah, right.
Times were different, right? And does courage take on a different perspective today than it did perhaps back when we were, when the picture of courage was Evel Knievel?
That's actually a good one. Evel Knievel. People think he's nuts, but it took a lot of courage to do that, right? Because he had
just don't wake up and go, right, I'm going to jump the Grand Canyon.
Well, he had a dream, right? He had a dream to be the greatest, right, at what he does, and it took. I mean, oh my God! I mean, jumping in strapping yourself into a rocket to go over the Snake River. I mean, that takes a lot of courage and takes a lot of balls. And I don't
fine line between courage and crazy, there, isn't it?
Right. I don't mean to disrespect any ladies by saying it takes balls, but it takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of chutzpah to strap yourself into a gas-filled rocket.
I like what your dad says too.
Yeah. All right. So Bob says courage is also defined as mental or moral strength to venture, persevere, and withstand danger, fear, or difficulty.
It's a good one.
Yeah. And everybody, whether you realize it or not, has that choice every day. Has to have courage, literally, just to literally get out of bed.
Well, you know what? But I think that in today's society, courage has changed, and I like that, right? The mental or moral strength, right? And so somebody like Evel Knievel did it for his own self. I mean, he didn't do it to try to have everybody jump.
Right. He did it to prove something to himself. River, right? He was, getting past the fear.
Rosa Parks, she did it because she was like, I'm tired of sitting in the back of the bus. I'm just going to sit up here.
Right.
I'm a little old lady, or, she wasn't that real old at that time.
Right.
But she's like, I'm going to sit here. And now I think people think that courage means, I'm going to stand toe to toe with you and change your opinion until your opinion agrees with my opinion. Is that courage?
No, not at all. That's not courage.
Are you sure?
Not in my mind.
Well, Deke, I think to your point again, you're getting into the how we do things. There's nothing wrong, because again, if you're standing on your principles, some might put it on you that you're trying to put your opinion on them, when no, all someone might be doing is sharing their opinion, standing on their principles. But then the issue is when you go that next step and you start treating people poorly because they don't agree with you, or disrespect them, or dehumanize them because they don't think like you. That's, to me, is where that line, you cross that line from just being someone who's standing on principle and showing courage to stand on that in spite of the fact others may not agree with you and may even hate you for it, but not doing the same to others. If you start to hate others or disrespect others because they don't agree with you, that's no longer courage. That's just being a bully, or quite frankly, that's being ineffective. I always say it's one thing to be right; it's another thing to be effective. And when you start doing that, you're not going to change anybody's mind in that. And sometimes the goal shouldn't be to change someone's mind. The goal is just to share what I think and what I believe.
Right. Share what you think.
You get to decide whether or not you want to.
Differently, right? I mean, make someone, with what I always say, with question everything, maybe make them look at it differently. Question it. Okay, well, wait, I'm looking at, and it may take courage to stand up and say, hey, you know what, Don, I think you're wrong.
Yeah.
Instead, most people would just be like, well, in today's full, culture, they just can't say, yeah, I don't believe in you. It takes courage to stand up and be like, Don, I hear what you're saying, but I don't agree with it. And here's why, in a nice manner. Like I just had a really great conversation with my brother the other night. Right.
Congratulations.
Right. It doesn't happen. Well, it doesn't happen as often as I would like, and it took some courage to really lay out how I was feeling. And we actually had a wonderful conversation because I had the courage, and I prefaced it with like, look, what I'm going to say, you might not like, but I need you to understand, where I'm coming from, and understand that it's not a dig on you or anybody else, but, this is how I feel. I want you to understand who I am, why I am, and why I feel this way. And it took a lot of courage, because when you do something like that, you could alienate people.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, that's what happens these days. You alienate them because you're different.
Yeah.
So it took a lot of courage for me to do that. And, it worked out great. Right. But if I didn't do it, I would never know. And it's one of those things that if you don't do it, you'll never know. And if you do it and it happens, you at least know what's happened.
Good morning, Shane.
Right. So, and I was able to do that through encouragement, was speaking with some other people, being like, why wouldn't you do that?
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, just having courage is really important, but it's also having somebody behind you to give you encouragement to move forward and say, hey, you know what, just do it. That's you. That's how you feel. Make sure that you let them know. And it's not an easy thing to do. And it's not a great feeling by any means, usually, especially doing what I did, but it worked out for the best by far.
Yeah.
So
I think language is so important in terms of, by the way, Shayna, thank you for your comment. She always agrees with me. That's because she's so smart. That's what I'd say to that response. But anyway, but again, the language we use. One of the things one of the phrases I try to use when I'm dealing with a situation where we really think differently is, and I don't even remember where I heard this first, but just asking someone to just try on this for a while. Just try this on for a little while and see how it fits. A different idea, because again, you're not saying it to say you got to think like I had to. Just try this on for a while and see what you think, or invite people into thinking about something rather than demanding people think. Because I like what Shayna says. Why do we need to make people do anything? We should never be making people do anything. And let me say that again. In our current day, we should not be making anyone do anything.
No,
we can be convincing people, influencing people, asking people.
Right.
But this whole idea of make is very damaging to our society and our psyche.
100%. Yeah, we shouldn't. And I love that, because we shouldn't be making you do it. We should be encouraging you to maybe step outside your comfort zone and look at it from a different perspective. I don't want to make you do something. I'd like you to think about it. Right. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm not making, we do use that word a lot, and maybe you need to really think about it before it comes out of your mouth, which is, I have a size 11 shoe and I stick it in my mouth a lot of times. Right.
Oh, yeah. That's why you're a big mouth, right?
Right. But I generally learn, I learn from it a lot of times, because I have the courage to say what I feel. Right. I really do. And it takes a lot.
No.
You do.
But, I was encouraged. I got encouragement from my family and from, significant people in my life saying, just be you. Be you, tell people who you are, and the ones that like you, love you, and care about you and appreciate you are going to stick with you. The ones that don't care, are going to disappear. You don't want them in your life anyway. Yeah. So have the courage to tell people who you are and what you are, and you'll attract the people that you want.
So Shayna says, seek first to understand has apparently played out in this. I think it's been out in this society.
Yeah, I don't think that's available. I don't think that's available to anybody, unfortunately, anymore, Shayna.
What's Robert say there?
All right. So Bob says, Aristotle said, you will never do anything in this world without courage. It is the greatest quality of the mind next to our honor.
Yeah. Right.
So, yeah. And one thing I didn't know, and when I was looking this up and thinking about it, did you know that there's actually 6 different types of courage? No. I thought courage was just it's courage, right? There are 6 different types of courage, according to our famous friends at Google.
There's variants of courage.
Well, there's physical courage, which is feeling fear yet choosing to act, involves bravery at the risk of boldly harm or death. So that would be like me jumping out of an airplane, right? Or scuba diving, or just some type of physical act, right? Emotional courage is following our heart, open us to feeling the full spectrum of emotions, pleasant, unpleasant, without attachment. Mm-hmm. Makes sense. Intellectual courage, which is expanding our horizons, letting go of the familiar. It's about our willingness to learn, unlearn, and relearn with an open and flexible mind. Then we go to social courage, to be ourselves, which is what we were just talking about. To be ourselves in the face of adversity involves a risk of social embarrassment or exclusion. Moral courage, standing up for what is right, which is everybody should be doing, right? I mean, for what you believe in.
Morning, Jim.
And then spiritual courage, facing pain with dignity or faith. It helps us live with purpose and meaning through a heart-centered approach toward all of life and oneself. So, I mean, that blew me away knowing that there's 6. I mean,
well, and in lies the problem. Jamie, good morning. Eleanor Roosevelt said, no one can make you feel inferior unless you let them.
Absolutely.
So,
jinx.
So here's the issue with that. We have a definition. I like what Robert said is the definition right here. It's defined as mental or moral strength to venture, persevere, and withstand danger, fear, or difficulty.
Yeah, I think the mental and moral strength is what's more important these days than the fear to jump over overcoming your fear to jump over the Snake River Canyon, the physical stuff, and jumping out of your airplane there, Scott. I'm pretty sure there's a lot more deaths in a lot of the things we do day to day than people jumping out of airplanes.
I think the big thing started really.
Here's my issue with everything that you just read. Why? This is what courage is. There's not 18 different types of courage, right? But we got to make everybody feel good.
Yeah,
you know what? You got good emotional.
You got great emotional courage.
It's like I got my truth and my courage.
You got mental or moral strength. That's what you have.
Right. And that's why I said I was kind of blown away that there's 6 different things of courage. Courage is courage to do something regardless of what aspect of your life you introduce it to.
That's called overthinking it, isn't it, Deke?
Yeah.
Well, and that's our welcome to our world, Don.
I get it. Listen, I get it because someone had the courage to make a jelly-filled donut.
That bastard, see my belly from that jelly?
Now we have a bunch of delicious different donuts. That took courage for them to step out of the
It actually probably did,
right?
It actually probably did because somebody would have looked upon them as going, what are you thinking?
And I'm okay having all those different types of donuts. But courage isn't donut. It's not emotional. It's not physical. It's not blah, blah, blah.
That's moral strength, making the jelly donut, man.
Right. But it could, to do so the courage to do something different. Right? I mean, instead of being the status quo, just being a lemming, following along. I mean, everything we got going on in the world right now, it takes courage these days to be different, to actually stand up and tell you what's going on, right? Or to tell somebody how you feel, right?
Right. Yeah, Shana says, for everybody out there listening, it's taking all the courage I have just to hold my reality. It's true, right? And that's the tough thing. Well, here's the thing. Courage.
Is it taking courage or strength, though?
Courage is individual. And I think in today's society, we try to make it societal.
Oh, that's a great point.
You understand what I'm saying? With everything that is going on, you know what? It takes courage to stand with all of us for this cause.
When you're part of the mob. Yeah, that doesn't take courage to go along with the mob, does it?
Right. No,
it doesn't take courage. That's one of the things. If you're going with it because that's just the thing to do, that's not courage.
It doesn't take courage to float down the river.
Right. Well, it does. It does.
Right? But I mean,
right.
But you want to paddle up against the current. That takes a little bit of chutzpah.
Well, right.
But anyway, that's what I'm saying is, I think that today's society's tried to make, instead of a noun, has tried to make courage a verb, and you're not courageous if you don't follow me, if you don't do this, right? Again, I go back to, it's an individual thing.
It is 100%.
Right. And listen, if there was if there was a nuclear attack and I said, you know what, I'm not going underground. I'm gonna have the courage to stand right out here living my life.
Now, is that courage or stupidity?
Why? What's the difference?
It's a nuclear attack. If you stand out there, you're going to die.
Stupidity to you, but I'm asking. Courage is individual.
No, but I'm asking you: is that courage or is that stupidity? Because at a nuclear attack, and you stay out there, you're going to die. So is that courage or is that ignorance?
Okay, so now let's roll it into today. There's a pandemic,
right?
And we could go down this. We won't. We've been down it before.
Right, yeah, we're not going to go down
the
wormhole.
Now I twist that on you and go, you have or you haven't. Is that stupidity or courage because you're going to die. You understand what I'm saying? Courage is individual. It might be stupid to you that I do this,
right?
But I've got the courage to jump over the Snake River.
May not be stupid to me, right, Deke?
Right. And it is individual.
This is where we have trouble in today's world. You're like, you're an idiot. Why am I an idiot? Because I don't agree with you.
I was going to say, because you don't agree with me.
Stand up and do this.
And I love that.
And I can guarantee you, hundreds of thousands of people told Rosa Parks, "You're an idiot. Just go to the back."
Right. Why are you trying to ruffle their feathers? Right? Because she stood up for something she didn't believed it, and so she had the courage. And then through her courage, it was able to encourage other people, right, or give other people encouragement to follow in her footsteps, right? And that's allowed us to evolve over time.
Yeah.
If people just did what everyone said that they should do, or followed suit, where would we be in this world? I mean, It takes courage to introduce a new concept, or let's just go basic. It takes courage to talk to your kid about tough issues. It's not an easy thing to talk to your kids about. Let's just take sex. That's really tough.
I just put on salt and pepper.
You just put on salt and pepper, right?
Let's
talk about sex. It takes courage as a parent, but you're also encouraging them to think about what they're going to do and the step that they may make, right?
Right.
Like, this is a big step that you can never take back.
So Lisa, good morning, says,
good morning, Lisa.
Look at who you are following. Do they live the life you wish? Are they an example of what you wish to be? If not, why are you looking at them? Fear. Insecurities?
Question marks.
Fear? Insecurities? There, that was better.
There you go.
Right?
Yeah.
All right.
Dramatic effect. Good job, Deke.
But it doesn't take courage to follow somebody like it doesn't take courage for the cattle to follow the cattle path, right?
No, it takes courage to go the opposite way,
right? So if I'm following the head steer, and the cowboy and the dog are chasing us down this fast, it doesn't take a lot of courage to do that.
No,
I can do that.
It takes no courage, and it takes no thought.
Lisa, you're going to have to expound on that just a little bit.
I think what she says here, I think what she's trying to say when she says, look at who you are following.
Put words in her mouth.
Right.
Have the courage to do that. She's scary.
Yeah, no, right. Lisa's scary. No. But does it take courage to follow somebody? It depends on what you're following and what you're doing, right? I mean, so if I wanted to, I'm going to go really weird here, but let's just say I had the courage to follow David Koresh.
Okay.
Right? Is that courage, or is that or is that ignorance, or is that just because I wanted to be accepted? Is that courage? Is that an insecurity? Did I join him because of insecurity, or did I have the courage to go, you know what, he's right, and I want to show to the world that I believe in that, and I'm going to go to the deepest depths and the end all, basically ending your life to prove that I believe in this. That's to me, that's not courage. To me,
Jamie
that's ignorance.
Says it takes courage to not go with the mob.
100%, Jamie. 100%. It takes courage not to be an average. I don't want to say average because I always kind of mess my words, but it takes courage to be you, to be an individual, because we are all individuals, even though we are inside. We all start out the same as the human condition. We all are the same, but it takes courage to be Kent, to be Scott, to be Don, right? To be who we are and to tell people who we are.
Yeah.
I get yelled at all the time for being me.
Shana says, with us or against us, convert or die. It's been done before. Courage and stupidity are not mutually exclusive, in my opinion.
Ooh, you can have courage and be wrong.
That is dead air a little bit.
Yeah, you can have courage and be wrong is part of what I think she's talking about.
But you have the courage to do something, whether it's right or wrong, but you tried it. You didn't let fear hold you back.
Right. They're not mutually exclusive because, again, we'll take our good friend Evel Knievel jumping the Snake River. That's stupid to me, in my opinion, right? So I like what you said. It's not exclusive. Your courage is stupid to me.
Right. And I get that. Right. I hear you. Yeah.
There is literally,
because it's a choice I made.
There is literally no need to jump out of a perfectly good airplane.
Oh, yes, there is. Once you do it, you feel the rush, and you're alive. I'll tell you what. There's no greater. Right. There's no greater way that I have found to feel alive than jumping out of a perfectly good airplane through, and you guys being Christian, through God's, and seeing God's creation from up at
from
you.
afar. Yeah, that's probably pretty cool. I'm never doing it, so I'll take your word for it.
And feeling you're free as a bird, man. There ain't nothing up there to worry about.
I find that
ain't nothing.
I find the comforting arms of my wife gives me that same feel.
There you go.
No, I'm not laughing. I disagree. But I get it. I get it. And so it takes courage, and it also takes a little bit of, some people could say stupidity, right?
Right.
Well, how do you jump out of a perfectly good airplane? And I tell people, I go,
"That's stupid to you."
It's not.
I look at it. I haven't done it. Well, that's kind of dumb, right? Now, Tim Berners-Lee. I'll talk about him in a minute. But what does Robert say here?
Bob says moral courage involves a willingness to speak out and do what is right in the face of forces that would lead us to act in some other way.
Okay.
Right. So standing up for what you believe in, right? Doing what you want to do.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you have choices every day.
Yeah.
Every day, every minute you're making choices. And it takes courage, to make the choice that you do. I mean, simple courage, right? Simple courage to turn left or turn right. Because you don't know what's going to happen.
No,
I mean, it's a very goofy
go into
thing.
the cave or not?
Right, go into the cave. Right. So, I mean, ask that girl to dance or don't ask her to dance. It takes courage, right? And one of your friends might encourage you, and give you some encouragement, like, dude, what's the worst she can say? No.
Yeah.
Right. But the fear, when you get stuck by fear, that false evidence appearing real, you lose it all, and then you just exist. Who wants to exist
Lisa,
in this world?
Literally, she's like 2 blocks away. You could really just come in here and write all this stuff.
All right,
read it. Lisa, but I love you all for it, Lisa.
Making Deke read.
What does Lisa say? She says, "My point is, you are following because you have a true belief, or because you trust someone else. The crowd are those you follow. Are those you following show example of better, or do you just have fears and insecurities and follow who made you the most fearful?"
Well, then now that could be a whole different topic for.
I was going to say that's
is living in fear, but if you have courage to do something that frightens you, is get in the ring with a Mike Tyson or something like that. That's somebody's going. You're stupid because he's going to knock your brain into the back of your skull. But you're like, hey man, I took a shot from Tyson and I survived. Right. So when it comes to that, I don't think following people takes courage.
Depends on what you're following and what you're doing. Well, it does. I mean, if you're following somebody that's a rebel,
it's more of the issue of what's the idea and the concept you're following is what can cause.
But again, that goes back to courage. Courage is personal.
It is personal.
Courage is not a verb. It's a noun.
I'm not going to say specific names, but let's just say you have the courage to follow somebody that in majority of people's eyes is an idiot.
Okay.
Right. You're doing that because there's some other belief or some other thing that you're trying to get to, right? You believe in what they have. So it's taking courage because you're going to take, either mental or maybe even physical abuse from people for following that person. Right. Let's just say a politician, because that's such a hot, typical topic these days. Right. It takes courage for you. Let's just say, Kent, to say, you know what? I like this guy. And when you know that I'm on the opposite side of the spectrum.
I don't think that takes courage.
Well, it does if you know that could potentially harm a relationship, right? To bring it up to them, because some things are better left
if my
unsaid.
Opinion harms a relationship. Did we ever have a relationship, Scott?
Well, that's a different story. That's a different part of it. But it would take courage. It would take courage for you to come up and say, I believe in this and this is why. And I could look at you and go, I hear what you're saying, but I think that you're wrong.
Listen, it doesn't take courage at all to be a Christian. Because
why doesn't it take courage?
Right? Because here in America, people aren't being beheaded. Right? You go back to the days where they were, or into the Middle East or whatever, where they're lopping your head off if you say you are. That takes courage. Then here it doesn't. You know why? Because there's a church every 2 minutes.
Right next to the bank.
Right next to the bank.
Because that's where the church is putting their money, right? In that bank.
Some of them are having church in the Starbucks. So I don't think it takes courage at all. That's a lemming can follow anybody. Just walk along. And if you go off the cliff, I'll go off the cliff. It's just what we do.
Right. And that's,
that doesn't take courage.
Right.
I can be out here going, look at you, going to fall off the cliff, you dummy. Bloop. I told you. Right. Didn't take courage to do that.
Right. I agree with that. And I think courage is actually probably one of the between that and morals is one of the biggest things that I think that right now our society is lacking, is the courage to be individuals, to be who they want to be. Right. I mean, if everybody in this world, would stand up, to have the courage to be who they want to be, to do what they want to do, to say what they want to say, and not worry about judgment and to worry about, others looking on them a different way or causing them problem, the world would be in a much better place right now. But nobody has the courage to stand up to do what they know is right.
Right. And Shana says courage is a perspective. Absolutely. It's personal. It's perspective. Do you know much about the quote unquote cult you disparaged? We didn't disparage
David
him.
Koresh. I'm not disparaging. I'm just using it.
We used him as
I was using an example. It took a lot of courage for somebody to want to follow that. That's a lot. That's the ultimate sacrifice, right? So that takes a lot of courage to even think about that and to do that. I'm not disparaging him. I'm not saying good, bad, or indifferent.
Right.
That was a choice they made.
Just use an example.
Right. I was using an example. Right. That was a choice they made. They had reasoning behind that, and they had the courage to follow through with their beliefs. Right. Right. And that's great. I mean, you might think it's wrong. It was a horrible outcome, but it took a lot of courage to do that. I mean, holy crap.
Sure.
I mean, so I respect that. Right. Obviously, I think in a way that it was, I don't want to say they're dumb, but I mean, they paid the ultimate sacrifice, but that took a lot of courage to do that.
And that's what I'm saying is courage is personal. My courage is different from your courage is different from Don's courage is different from Shana's, Lisa's, Bob's, everybody. Doesn't matter. But because it's different, that's where the stupidity comes in. Oh my God, you're stupid. I'd never jump out of an airplane. And you're like, it's the best thing in the world, right?
Well, it's a perspective thing too, and what you're trying to get out of life, right? So,
yeah, that's what drones are for, to see up from 12,000 feet. I agree. Yeah, Bob, you're welcome in anytime.
I would love to. I've been Shana. That's in case anyone doesn't know, Bob is actually my dad, most wonderful man ever. And it's not just because he is my dad. Everybody
took a lot of courage to say that, because I think my dad is the best man.
I mean, it's one of those things that you meet people and they go, "Your dad had broke the mold," right? So, but yeah, we'd love to get Dad into the studio. So next Friday, Dad, you're coming in.
Son of a bitch!
Yeah.
Jamie, I do agree with this, right? Jamie says, I think our individual definition of courage changes as we get older. Now,
it might be, Jake, I would say one thing I'd add to that is it might be what we decide to be courageous about probably changes pretty considerably.
100%. Right. 100%. I don't think the definition of courage changes. What we're being courageous about is different.
I've got a shout out to Jamie. She runs the Algonquin Lake in the Hills Chamber of Commerce. Does a great job over there. Just love her for that. Also, I have to throw this out there. Moved this week. We took a lot of courage to move.
Oh, a lot of encouragement from your wife too, Kent. I hate this place. You got to move.
No, she actually loved the place we lived at. But we lived there for 18 years. Now, big shout out to University Movers here in McHenry. The Boxlighters run that local company. They did a fantastic job with the move. 2 crews. One came in, packed. We were all boxed up, loaded trucks, did a great. We've opened a ton of boxes already. Nothing broken, nothing scratched. These guys.
That's because they had nothing in the boxes. They had no courage to put their stuff in it.
Didn't break the rubber dishes, huh?
I got to tell you, absolutely. If you're looking at a move, local or distant, University Movers is fantastic.
So, with that being said, let me ask you this then, Kent. Yeah. Why did it take courage to move? Why does it take courage to move?
Because that was our safe zone. That was our we built that. We didn't build the house, we got it, but we did a lot of work to it. We put
You made it your own.
Yeah, we made it our own, and that was our comfortable spot. And we raised 3 of our kids in that house, and see, I'm gonna get teared up now. And
go for it. Let it go, man. It takes courage to cry in front of me because I'll kick you.
It was our home. So
hey, Deke, I packed up and moved from to Dallas, Texas. So come on,
but you're running from something, Don. See, that takes
courage to do what you did.
Yeah, no, that takes courage because you're playing it smart. You're getting the hell out of Dodge. You're like, oh my God, I'm leaving.
Man, you got me there, Scott. You got me there.
It does take courage to move. I think it takes, no disrespect, Kent, but I think it takes a lot more courage to do a pickup. And I guess, Don, you're originally from Texas, so right?
No, I'm from Kansas. I grew up in Kansas, but I lived here for a couple years in the mid-90s.
I mean, it takes a lot of courage, but you moved towards family, right?
Yep.
So all these people that move away from family, like my parents, they moved away from their family. Talk about that's courage for moving for me.
No, that's smart.
You just moved across town.
That's just called smart.
Yeah,
It's
see,
smart.
but see, then Scott, then they get to come visit you at Christmas now, which is very cool.
Yeah.
Lisa says our society is that whole example of it. Courage is trusting your own instincts and faith, even when you don't see the view. Whether
when others don't see
be
the view.
Physical courage. Okay, here we go. Emotional courage. Oh God, here we go again. Just courage.
Well, no, but if you actually break it down, it does make sense. It's still courage.
God.
It's just different.
It's just courage. My God.
Deke's not buying the multi-courage here.
It's French vanilla ice cream. No, it's Italian vanilla ice cream. It's got
Is there such
vanilla
a thing as
ice cream.
Italian?
I'm just saying, right?
Yeah.
It's just ice cream, right? Vanilla. Now, again, somebody had the courage to make chocolate, and somebody had the courage to make Rocky Road, and I love that. But I mean, come on, right? Courage is courage. Courage to stand and protect life and property against an angry mob could be considered both courageous and stupid. Yeah, exactly. But I had the courage to do it, right? We had the courage to pack up our kids into the covered wagon and trek across the United States. And then take over land from France, Native Americans, and never mind. All right, whole different show. Okay,
right. Well, take it. I mean, literally take it to the basic level every day. Yeah. Does it take courage to get up and leave your home?
Lisa, you can always sit in the producer's box for this show.
Does it take courage? Does it honestly take? I mean, does it take courage to get up every day and to go and attack the world?
What do you mean?
Get up every day and do what you're going to do. Go to work, go to school, do nothing.
No, because I don't think it's mentally scaring you. There's no fear there.
Really? You don't think so?
Yeah.
Some people just to wake up in the morning knowing that they have to do something and have to produce.
To get in your truck and drive?
Absolutely.
No, you're comfortable with it. You're not scared to do it. You're not.
But it's become. I know that there's that possibility.
Well, that's just
right. So I have,
common sense,
right? But it's also become like a routine, right?
See what
courage to do routines.
Courage would have been Lisa coming into the studio 15 minutes after she got up this morning. That would be courage.
Would that be? Yeah. Would that be courage?
She said she wasn't. She said, "I'm not coming in. I just got up." I said the courage would be her coming in 15 minutes.
Yeah, that was her courage. That's it. I say she can always sit. Right? So I mean, that's to me, courage is personal. My courage
is personal, or why you do something is personal.
My courage has nothing to do with you. Nothing to do.
I agree with that.
Unless you're holding a gun to my head.
Right, but it could be the reason you make the decision is personal, but having courage, right, is just like persevering to move forward with what you're wanting to do, knowing that the outcome could be good or bad, right? So courage is courage, but what you do is personal. Why does it have nothing to do with me?
Because my courage is my courage. It has nothing to do with you.
Right, but it's stepping beyond and doing something that you know has a potential outcome, good and or bad, and you still do it.
Yeah, but that's he's the one making that decision to do it or not to do it. It is personal to Deke. The outside influence is what may cause us to require courage, but it's not. It doesn't decide whether we act courageously or not. I think is what I'm hearing from Deke is my being courageous. I might have to be courageous because of circumstances of other people, but that's not where I get my courage. It's either I'm going to have courage or not, regardless of what you're doing or the mob is doing. So I think that's what I hear you saying, Deke, is it is personal with regards to whether or not I'm going to choose to be courageous. And I can apply it to today. How am I going to choose to be a victim, or am I going to be courageous and overcome whatever circumstances may have me feeling like I'm a victim today?
Lisa says, I was waiting to ask if I didn't have the courage to be on camera with bedhead and no makeup. My answer would be a quick and pre-filled
no.
That's great, Lisa.
Is that courage or fear? Well, Well, no, I mean seriously, does it take courage to come on there? Yes,
smirk.
but is there fear of people judging you for the fact that you have bedhead?
It's absolutely smart.
Is that emotional? Is that emotional courage?
She's branded herself, and she's got a brand that she's
making a choice. She's making a choice, probably an intelligent one.
She's right here Sundays at 9 a.m. 21.6 net. I am often told how courageous I have been, and for me, it's like it's just life. What's the option? Yeah, and I don't know what you've been through or what you've had the courage to do. And that's cool, right?
Right.
And to me, right? Again, that's a personal thing, right? And if I go, oh man, you were courageous. Again, that's my opinion,
right,
of what you did, and you're like, what are you crazy? No, it wasn't. You train, you jump out, you pull the cord, and you drop 12,000 feet, right?
And hopefully you land.
I got this. Not a problem. And now you're like, I do it every day. Let's go. Let's have some fun. And I'm like, God, no, right? You're really courageous to do that,
right?
And you're like, no, I'm not, right?
Well,
so again, it's courage is an internal thing for each person.
Right.
And I think what we try to do is encompass it as an action or encompass it to the world. It was a personal choice. She had courage to sit at the front of the bus.
Right.
Evil Knievel had courage to
do
jump.
Right. To do something that everyone thought was crazy.
85 buses or whatever he
did,
which we said crazy.
Right.
Right. Because that's not in our.
It
doesn't scare me because I ain't going to do it.
Right. And part of that is, like Lisa brought up earlier, part of that is insecurities, right? He had an insecurity of, thinking that people look at him going, hey, you can't do this. Well, I'm insecure in myself. I want to do that. I'm going to prove to myself and I'm going to prove to everybody else that I can do what I want to do.
Right.
And screw everybody else.
So Tim, your coach, good morning, says,
good morning, coach.
There's just courage, not your courage, not my courage. That's wrong.
Right.
Well, I don't know if it's necessarily wrong. It's just, I think the more mincing words here, it is personal. It's still personal, but courage is courage, I think is what Coach Papa is saying. But it's not like there's,
Well, let's ask him. He just walked in.
He just
did. Well, then I don't need to comment on it. Yeah.
We'll see what he means.
Have a seat, Tim.
Well, jump behind there and turn on a microphone.
But the thing for me is having six different levels of courage. It is just courage, but it's different areas of courage, if you would, right? I mean,
no, I don't think there's not emotional, there's not physical. I'm gonna go back to let's scroll back up there to what Bob said earlier this morning
about moral. That was the very first one.
Where's he at? Is that it? Yeah. No, that's Aristotle.
No, that was the very first one.
Up.
Courage.
Sorry.
He says courage is also defined as mental or moral strength to venture, persevere, and withstand danger, fear, or difficulty. Bam.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
Right.
Right. In yourself.
But is that an emotional?
Within yourself. Did you turn on the mic?
It's on.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Good
Tim.
morning.
So
Coach Papa's in the house.
There's not my courage. There's not your courage. There's just courage. What did you mean by that?
Well, I was just bleeding off of what you said. There's not emotional courage. There's not mental. There's courage. Courage is doing something in spite of being afraid.
But what they're saying is there's different aspects that you use courage for. Right. Courage is courage, but my emotional courage, right, could be different than my physical courage. I have physical courage, right, to jump out of a plane or to ride a motorcycle.
No, that's just stupid.
In your opinion, that is stupid, right? But my opinion is to not do that, to let fear stop you from doing that because of maybe you're fearful that you're going to die from jumping out of a plane. To me, that's stupid because now you're not living life. And that comes to a question of what is living life to you? Living life to me is doing things that scare the hell out of me. Every day, it takes courage for me to get up and to do the things I do, right? Because I know that I'm being judged by a lot of people going, why are you doing that?
But it goes back to what are you afraid of? If I'm not afraid of it, then it's a courage because courage, the definition is being afraid or being concerned and doing it anyway.
Right, going on the opposite side of fear.
But if I'm not afraid of jumping out of a plane, then is it courageous?
No, it's just fun then, right?
Then it's fun, right? That's what it becomes. But your initial courage to do it.
If I've got a fear of heights,
right?
But I climb, you're
courageous.
But if I don't have a fear of heights,
you pushed past that fear.
Right.
right? So you push past that fear, and to do that is making you feel more alive.
Yeah, Scott, it wouldn't take courage for me to jump out of the plane. It would take somebody pushing me.
Yeah. That's a good one, though, Don. Don, think about this one. What you just said, though, someone pushing you. Courage.
They were encouraging me, right?
You pushing yourself, right? Encouragement is that person maybe behind pushing you. Go, here, I'm going to encourage you, and they push you out of the plane.
Encouragement.
Right. Well, here's your encouragement. Right. But it takes courage, right, to go past that fear, to live life, because like Tim just asked me, what are your fear? My fear is that I'm going to leave this earth and not leave some type of, I don't want to say not a legacy, but just like I didn't change the world. I want to help to make
footprint.
This, right, yeah, not even a footprint. I want to make the world a better place. A handprint.
Impact.
Yes. I want to make the world a better place. I want people, my big thing that everyone gives me shit about is when I have my truck lettered that says question everything. I want people to question everything. I want people to think why they do something, right? Why not do something?
Hey, Scott,
it takes a lot of courage to question everything. It takes a lot of courage for me to question you as to why you said what you said, or for me to second guess what everyone else is doing, because I'm the one that people look at me.
I said that it created fear in you.
Fear of me potentially could create fear in me that if I want you to like me or accept me, right? So it takes courage for me to say that to you, and fearing that I might lose you as a friend, or or that you might badmouth me, because people do care what other people
we do
think
that
about
anyway.
Right, and I know that. And that's why I encourage you daily to tell me how you feel, because then I have the opportunity to answer you, to tell you how I feel.
Exactly. And exactly like what Shayna says. Absolutely. I just mean people project what they think I am experiencing based on them.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Amen.
That's awesome.
Drop the mic. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in to 216 to Net the Grounds this morning.
Right.
Give me that good news, people. And that good news.
There's that smart Shayna.
That's why you and I, Scott, really started talking about this week is people are projecting their experiences and what they want and their opinions and boy, it doesn't take courage for me to allow them to verbally vomit. I have 5.3 million listeners that allow me to do it every week. God bless you.
But it takes courage for you. It takes courage for you to call them out.
Let's take it back to last week. Does it take courage to say Merry Christmas instead of Happy Holidays?
Right. Absolutely.
Right.
To some people it does. To some people it does, because so many people are afraid these days to offend people for being who they are. They don't want to. They're not showing courage by being who they are, right? And being authentic people. It takes courage to be authentic, right? So for you to be Tim Stewart, it takes courage for you basically to tell us what you just told us on the screen, right? Because we might judge you and be like, Tim, you're crazy.
That's a perfect example, though, of Deke. You talking about the personal nature of it. For me to say Merry Christmas, there is zero fear associated with it, so it requires zero courage for me to say Merry Christmas.
That's my point, Don. Thank you.
Yeah. No, right. And it's amazing,
but for some people it does, Don.
Yeah, no, some people are afraid to say it because they're afraid they're going to offend somebody.
You're very secure in who you are and what you are, right?
Well, I don't know if that's true, but that's a whole different story. But it's just a case of I'm just using that as an example. It's just a case of if you're not afraid of it, it's not courage. It's really my only point.
A great question for you. Here's a great question. Why do you quote unquote want for other people?
This is for me?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Why do I want for other people?
Why do you want for other people?
You said, I go, listen, that's, I want people to think. I want them to question everything. Why do you want?
I want like with the question everything is I want people not to go through life just doing.
Why?
Why? Because then they're living, right? Because I feel in my definition, right? Because you were given the grace, by, as you guys would put in the Christian, the grace of God. God put you on this earth for a purpose, right? Most people aren't living up to that purpose out of fear, because they don't have the courage to chase what they want and to be that individual self that they need and should be, right? So I just want people to question it, go, wait, does that fit into what I feel is my life, what I want to do, what I want out of this world? What I want people to be happy, to enjoy life, to give to others, right? to actually make a difference in this world, not just to suck air.
Going back to something you said, and when I'm driving down the road from Wisconsin down to here and I'm listening to the show, you said something. I'm like, oh, I want to text and drive. No, I want to call in. You said people should have the courage to be themselves. They should all be what if they're a jerk? They should just go ahead and be a jerk.
But if that's them, then I have the choice to not associate with them. But if that's who they are, then that's really their authentic person. I don't think most people are jerks. I think
I don't believe so
they've
either.
got going on inside themselves, right? And maybe they don't have the courage to get help to fix them being jerks. Shayna says, I'm watching to see if the courage to change a deeply held position is in fact a possible outcome. Could someone convince you to turn from, for instance,
Jesus.
See the problem?
Right. So you want.
Mm-hmm.
For example, you want them to do this.
Maybe I should say I would like them to.
The question is why. It's like she's saying is that's a deeply held position. Maybe they're in a deeply held position, and you want them to. I mean, could someone convince you to turn from that deeply held position? For instance, your love of Christ. You see the problem? You're going to be upset because you won't change my position.
Yeah, Scott, I think what I think you're hearing from people, Scott, a little bit is that that projection of you have in your mind what living means, and you want other people to fully live like that, when fully living to someone else might be completely different to them than it is to you.
100%.
So I think that's what people are trying to follow up on here is. I think sometimes, because it is weird when we meet people that are just so different from us, we don't get it. It's like that doesn't seem like living to me. But they may be the most joy-filled, fulfilled people on the planet,
right?
And we don't get it because I think we're all like that,
and that's okay. You can accept that, but it does take courage to be you, to be who you want to be. And if you want to be, whatever, a skydiver, it takes courage to do it. If you want to be a deacon, it takes courage to do that, right? I'm not saying you're not living life,
right?
If you don't do the things that I want to do or what I feel is living life, but have the courage to do the things that you want to do and live the life that you want to live, whether it's sedimentary life, sitting inside, reading a book and never going outside. It takes courage to really do that because, at least in my mind, right? And I could be wrong. Trust me, I'm wrong 75 times a day and I make 80 decisions, right? I mean, so, and I know that. And if you're not wrong, a lot of times you're not making mistakes, you're never going to be right. You have to make mistakes and you have to think about things and you have to change things and have the courage to say that, and that's when I love when people come back at me. I'm going, oh, wait, I didn't think about that. I have to question myself.
Mr. Jones, can we apply for an extension on this show? I don't think this topic's coming to a close anytime soon.
I love it. And that's why I was thinking about it all week. And that's why I told Deke, I'm like, this is one that this could go into so many facets of people's lives.
Tim Berners-Lee. Does that name ring a bell? Tim Berners-Lee. BERNERS-LEE.
No.
Okay. He had the courage, all right, to design and build the first web browser, editor, and server. He's known as the father of the internet. Yeah, sorry guys, it's not Al Gore. Sorry.
Oh my God,
it's not Al Gore.
Shocking.
Gored that idea.
And he did it right to change the way information is, number one, created and consumed. Okay. Now, this was back in the probably 70s, 80s. It doesn't say when he did it, right? Whatever, late 90s, I don't know, 90s. And he created this. He's a British guy. Or an English engineer, I guess. He's from Britain, right? So did that take courage then? And do you think he goes, whoops, today? So sometimes
yes and
courage, no. You can have courage to do things that sometimes hindsight goes, whoops. Wrong move.
What did it take courage to?
But
did
we
it
love
take courage
because we're able to reach all of you.
But did it take courage to do it? I don't think it took courage to do it. It took a want, right? It took courage maybe for him to introduce it to everybody, but this was a dream.
You don't know what
right, but I'm just saying it could have been
saying you're an idiot.
It could have been a dream for him. It could have been a dream for him to do it.
I'm scared
right?
to get this out there, but
and it took maybe I guess you could say it took courage to do it because he was probably going against the I don't want to say the moral fiber, but what was acceptable back then, right?
Before we cut this off, let me just read something here because we've prefaced her today as well. Rosa Parks, also known as quote unquote the first lady of civil rights and the quote unquote mother of the freedom movement. She had the courage, right, to sit in the front of the bus instead of the back in Montgomery, Alabama, thereby disobeying the bus driver's order. Her rebellious act triggered what later became known as the Montgomery bus boycott, one of the key events in the African-American civil rights movement. And I bring this up because it was her. She wasn't doing this. She did not get up that morning and go, you know what, I'm going to be the first lady of civil rights. You know what, I want to be the mother of the freedom movement. She didn't
want to get up and go to the back, yeah.
What she said is, I'm tired. I ain't going to the back of the bus. This seat's as good as that seat.
Right.
And you know what? I'm doing it for me. I'm going to have the courage to stand up to the bus driver and say, listen, I'm going to sit right here.
Right.
Right. Now, as I look at it, maybe the bus driver didn't have courage to go, okay, sit there.
Yeah.
Right.
So all I'm saying is I think courage is an inside personal thing. And my courage is not your courage, is not your courage, is not anybody else's courage. And if I have the courage to go back to what Bob said, that to get through that mental capacity to face a fear, then I win, right? And if it's wrong, you think
it's wrong for you, doesn't matter,
right? Doesn't matter. So instead of trying to sway people, I think as we do in today's society, hey, let's everybody get together, and you're an idiot if you don't agree with my opinion, and you're great if you agree with my opinion.
Thank you.
And if you don't agree with my opinion, we're going to stand toe to toe until we irritate each other enough to hate each other.
Potentially.
Right.
Right.
That doesn't take a lot of courage. It's just dumb.
Well, what's worse is the two politicians who have done it to hate each other create you and I who hate each other because they hate each other,
that's a smoke and mirrors thing. That's not even courage anymore. That's just stupidity.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It gets lost in
stupidity.
In the whole mess.
So
courage is different.
Courage would be not falling into that trap, Tim.
Right. Yeah. So with that being said, guys, we have come upon the hour here with the grounds, and we really appreciate you tuning in with us every week here. So with courage, I think we're going to have to revisit this again next week. But, with courage also comes you need to actually give people encouragement. It takes courage to do things, but you also need to help push people to push past their fear and to be courageous, right?
Amen.
So given the kids, like with Kent, being and you guys being, coaches, you encourage those kids. You give them encouragement.
Why just yell at him?
Right. You give them encouragement to want to be better, right? No. To want to be better, to want to do that because they want to do it, not to really care so much about what someone else might think. Give them encouragement. Guys, if there's one thing, when on this show we talk about love, we talk about giving back, we talk about questioning everything. How about encouraging people? Encourage somebody today to love somebody. Encourage somebody today to give someone a hug. Encourage someone today to enjoy the Christmas and holiday season and to be themselves. We love you. Thank you for tuning in. 216 The Net, The Grounds, Giles and Jones.
Can you guys share what your holiday schedule is for the grounds?
Yeah. So we are not here on Christmas Eve.
We're not?
Right?
Or New Year's Eve, I assume.
Well, a week from today is the 24th.
That'd be good.
I figured you'd be off the next 2 weeks.
What's that?
I figured you'd be off the next 2 weeks. Yep. Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve.
We will there'll probably be some people in studio on New Year's Eve. We may just have a little bit of fun with that. And New Year's Day, we usually have something going on New Year's Day. But stick around. But yeah, next Christmas Eve.
No grounds.
Tune in for a rerun.
Best of.
I'm here, folks. I think you need my weekly dose of encouragement.
It'll be the best of show. It'll be about 6 minutes long.
That's it. Hey. Bridging Civil Tension's done for the year. Their season's ended. They're going to be coming back in 2022 with some new stuff. It's going to be great. So I just want everybody to know it's going to be a rerun here this morning. But come back at 1 for the neighborhood Colts. Come back at 3 for M&O stuff.
We could actually do, we could continue courage on Bridging Civil Tension. There's a lot of courage in civil tension. It also takes courage to vote. Everybody, thanks.
Thanks, guys. Merry Christmas.
We love y'all, people. Merry Christmas. Happy